On today's show, we brought Ian Walsh from our Philadelphia office down to Maryland to collaborate with all of us. And we've got some really interesting stories about how both of us quit our jobs early on and became full-time real estate investors. And we've got some tips to show you exactly how to do it yourself. Check it out right now. When is the best time to quit your job and invest in real estate? It's a common theme that we hear all the time. I'm Jason Balin. This is my partner, Ian Walsh. We are actually in two different offices, but today we're lucky enough to be in the same room and share some insights. So on a regular basis, we know a lot of investors and a lot of you out there. You may be newer to real estate investing, you want to get into it, you're not really sure where to get started, and we talk about that a lot. And we also talk to our audience that has done a lot of deals and they're full-time real estate investors, but there's a lot of people that are stuck right in between. Maybe you flipped a house, maybe you own a rental property, and maybe you have a few deals going on, but you also have a full-time job, and maybe you're a little scared. You're not exactly sure what to do. I love real estate investing. I want to flip houses. I want this to be my primary income. I don't like what I'm doing in my primary job, but I'm scared and I don't know when the best time to do so is. And I guess the real easy answer is, and we're going to expand on this a lot as we have this conversation over the next few minutes, but I guess the easiest answer is make sure you're in a financial position where you can afford to quit your job and take the risk into the hurdle of doing real estate full time, and obviously having the time to do it. And again, there's never gonna be the perfect time. You're never gonna have a stockpile of cash that you can live on forever to take that plunge, but make sure you're kind of in a position, you have all your bills kind of lined up and money is set aside at least for the first few months, and then you kind of take the plunge into the next step.
Yeah, if I to add to that, Jay, I just draw from my own experience. I'm sure if you remember back when you became a full-time investor, there's a juggle that you go through. And if you don't juggle correctly financially, you end up in a position where you're basically just fighting the clock financially, right? So if you have your savings and it's not enough, and it's usually, you need more than you probably think, you're basically just saying, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna generate income, and I'm gonna live off my savings. And if that savings burns through, if you didn't plan properly, you're gonna end up right back to where you started, right? So now so you went from ambitious and excited to didn't plan correctly, you were in a dreaming state, you went out there, you tried a few things, you realize it's hard, it's hard to make money in this business, and then you're fighting the clock, you're making poor decisions, you're back at getting a new job, and you've probably lost some of that steam. But if you plan correctly and you have the right savings and the right cash flow in place prior to going into it, which includes working, I remember when I did it, I had a job that was paying and I was doing this. I mean, it was work during the day and work at night, right through the weekends. There was nothing that was going to stop me going full time, but I made the right decision and I saved a lot of money to do it. But once you get there and if you plan properly, you can continue that momentum of like the hopes and dreams and passion that you have to be in real estate investing moving forward and stay there as opposed to getting set back because you didn't plan properly. So I think it's really important to do that. Yeah,
and also I think it all starts with mentally telling yourself like, this is the right time, even though there's never the right time. Just there isn't. You can always convince yourself that it's not. Everything, it's the wrong time and the right time.
Yeah.
At the same time, I know that sounds kind of funky, but it is. But mentally, if you tell yourself, just like anything else, that you're ready to go, you will go and you will make it because you don't give yourself a choice. And hey, if you got to burn through your savings, you burn through your savings and you make it work. It's just like kind of, setting a goal that you don't hit. If you didn't hit a goal, it's because it's not important enough to you. So if you want this bad enough, you'll make it happen.
Yeah, if you set a plan of action, right? You come out of the gates, you have your full-time job that you're moving away from, you've done your research, maybe you've done a few deals at this point, you know that the situation is obtainable. I would say if you set a plan out, or at least for me, I would have said, hey, I look at a 1 year out from this moment of transitioning from a job to a full-time real estate investor. And that was enough for me with some momentum of being in the game, working nights and so forth. To do it, and it's exciting when you do it. It really is. I think the part where you said there's no right time, no wrong time, I think what you're interacting with is your internal fear, and I think it's natural. Everybody's going to have it. You're going to go from this stable position of I walk in and every day somebody's got my job outlined for me to I wake up tomorrow and there's nobody to answer to, which sounds really exciting. But the reality is that's also scary for a lot of people.
You sit around, you wake up in the morning and you're used to getting dressed and driving to the office, and you sit at your house and you say, okay, what am I supposed to do now?
What do I do now?
So, and that kind of leads us into what kind of to expect. And you know, when you're a full-time entrepreneur, you're a full-time real estate investor, and not just, you know, a weekend warrior or whatever. You know, because things change. You know, all of a sudden when you're a business owner, the stuff that you're worried about is extremely different. You know, you can't just micromanage a job, a construction job. Let's say you're flipping a house, day in day out. It doesn't work. There's so many other things you need to concentrate on: marketing to find new opportunities, bookkeeping, accounting, setting that stuff up. Maybe potentially hiring an employee. Internal employee, or maybe a virtual assistant, but your job, your role changes when you're the actual business owner, and not just, again, going back to that term, weekend warrior, kind of flipping a deal on the side.
Yeah, so and it's interesting you say that. So we talk about being in real estate investing, but that's just the widget, right? Really what you're saying is I'm leaving my full-time job to run a business.
Yep. For
most people, I mean, 99% of the people that get into real estate investing are really getting into running a business where the real estate is the widget that you're creating or doing whatever with. So that is the reality of the situation. After you learn how to do, create the widget, flip the house, lend the money, whatever it may be, you have to then structure a business around you and become a business owner. You're really engaging in becoming a business owner at that point.
And again, and like you just said, related to the word business owner, I mean, real estate is just the trade, it's just the business that you're in, or it's just the widget that you're selling. But you know, it doesn't matter whatever type of business you're in, it doesn't really matter. These key principles, they follow it for whatever you're selling. It doesn't matter. So let's just real quick go through, let's just say a timeline of I'm thinking about quitting my job until I quit my job, and then, you know, of what people can expect. Obviously, the mental side of things. I think I want to do this. I'm mentally preparing for this. The next thing besides mentally preparing, and I believe mentally preparing is like the most important thing by far. But because if you can't convince yourself and you don't have up here that you're able to do that, you can't. I mean, it's just like playing golf with a 3-foot putt. If you don't think you can make that putt, you're not going to make it.
Yep.
A 3-foot putt's like this. It's not that far.
It's a gimme.
And every single person, even the best golfers, miss that because they don't have the confidence of it. So the mental side is so important. The next set is goal setting. And if you've ever heard any of us talk about goal setting, you set your goals with the end in mind and work your way back. Because if you don't set your goals out here, what the heck are you doing every day? So setting goals of, cool, well, my first year I want to flip 5 houses and I want to buy 1 rental. Great. If that happens, then you know that you got to start doing marketing things, these many marketing things after that. So I would say first mental, then goal setting.
Yeah, I would go back to the, and sticking with the mental end of it is, it's really important, and goal setting, it's really important to have obtainable goals, I think, to not offset what you're trying to do. So if I say in my first year I'm going to come out of real estate investing, and I'm going to make $100 million, and I've never flipped a house before, what you're going to basically do is set yourself up for failure mentally. Absolutely. Right? So the struggle with running your own business and not having answering to somebody is a double-edged sword, in that you are your own worst enemy. You are going to beat yourself up or praise yourself to a level that you've probably never experienced. So having those goals to be obtainable are, I want to say, it's a little bit of a pat on the back, a little bit not of a letdown, which builds over time. It's not about the one big deal you do. It's about little votes of confidence that add up to make you, through experience, really good at what you do. So setting obtainable goals is extremely important for your mental health while you're doing this. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. So hopefully, if you're on the ledge right now of, hey, I mean, there's a lot of people that we know that flip houses part-time or own rental properties part-time, and I get it. And the reason we're talking about this subject is because I get it all the time. It's like, can you help me take it to the next level? I'm tired of doing this job over here. I'm making good money over here, and I've got some rentals, but I need to just do a little bit more, and then I'm in a good financial situation. How do you do that? And I hate to be the one to tell you this, but owning a business is hard, and being an entrepreneur is hard, and it's scary. And you need to have mentally be strong
and proactive and have goodwill. And if you have all those things and you have, the passion to do it, you'll be successful, because that's what it is. If you're successful in your job right now and you don't like it, I mean, think about that. You don't like this job over here and you're successful in it. What's going to happen when you like a thing you're doing here? You're going to be more successful. So don't let that scare you.
Yeah, I'm a big advocate, especially, you have two situations. One is you want to follow your passion, and two is in a job that you may not like. So I always believe that people change the most when they're at the point of the most pain. So with their pain being the changing factor of the job, would you rather sit in the job that you don't want to do for the rest of your life, or take the chance and change if you're mentally prepared to do so? What's scarier, sitting in that job forever or taking the chance to change?
Yeah.
So everybody's going to answer that question on their own, for sure, because it's a very personal question. But that's when most people will find themselves making that change or taking that step.
Well, the good news is that real estate investing is a proven model, and it clearly works. So don't let that scare you. The other good news is there's a lot of dummies in real estate investing that make a lot of money. So you are a lot more capable of them. So those are two good takeaways right now to hopefully give you some confidence to take it to the next level. As always, any comments that you have, we really want to grow the community. Feel free to comment below related to, maybe you're an investor and you want to, take the plunge, but you're a little bit scared. Type those in below, and happy to answer it, either ourselves or some other full-time real estate investors. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Again, thanks again.